Hi, welcome to Tantalus Oracle. So today I'm going to be discussing Chiron. And before I get started, I want to tell you thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to check out my metaphysical shop, femiashe.com, and it's down at the bottom of the screen. So today I'm going to be speaking about Chiron. And Chiron is called the wounded healer. So if you're not familiar with Chiron, you can pull up your Chiron on your birth chart. And if you don't know where it is in your birth chart, I'm gonna have a link in the description box to let you see what yours is. So you go on to that website, type in your birth date, your time of birth, and your location, and it'll pull up your birth chart, and you can see where your Chiron is. Okay, so what Chiron is called the wounded healer. And the reason why Chiron is called the wounded healer is because Chiron represents some wounds that you may have in your lifetime that you need to heal from so that you can help others heal. So like they say, Chiron is your greatest emotional wounds, your ability to heal from them, and healing wisdom you can share with others. So I'm going to go over Chiron in the signs, and then I'll go over Chiron in the houses. Okay. So if you pull up your birth chart, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about the houses and the signs. But we already know the signs is 12 zodiac signs. So now, if you have Chiron in Aries, your emotional wound would surround your ability to respond instinctively and being assertive. And when you have a wound in Aries, a Chiron wound in Aries, you may not be assertive anymore. You may not be that typical Aries fiery self because you fear that you will be rejected. Okay. And with this, you have to learn to accept your vulnerability and trust your instincts, okay, to guide you. Now, with Taurus, with the Chiron in Taurus, with Taurus, they're more of, they like to have things in order and then they try to, like a process. They need to plan things out. They need to have time to do that. But if you have a wound in Taurus, a Chiron in Taurus, you may be sensitive when others rush you or demand you hurry up and make a decision. And you feel like people may reject you because you're too slow or you take too much time to look at the fine details. And so you feel like they may reject you for that. Okay. Now, in Gemini, if you have Chiron in Gemini, you may be sensitive to how others take your words and your questions, like how is it received? And when you have a wound there, you may feel some type of rejection when you try to, join in on conversations or you try to give people your input. And it's like people don't understand what you're saying or they try to reject what you say as well. So you may feel that way, not necessarily that people are doing that, but that's how you feel. And so that's why you may not share your thoughts. Now, with Cancer, you could be sensitive to how others react to your feelings and your needs. And that's because you are so aware of other people's feelings and needs. And so with this, it's like you dismiss your feelings and try to focus on other people's feelings. So you have to address your own feelings. It's not saying that you can't be aware of others, but you have to also address yourself. Okay, because you kind of feeling like another person's needs are more important than yours. Okay, so that is Cancer. So Leo. So if you have Chiron in Leo, you may be sensitive to the reactions people give you when you, like in your creativeness, in your playing, okay, in your jokes, so whatever it is that you're doing, your playful side. Um, and when you have that wound there, you may not be as creative, or you may not be as outgoing as you could be because you fear that rejection. Okay. But then you also feel like if you can't, well, you could make others feel like, or you may feel like others may feel like you are judging them because you, when you're joking and playing around, you may touch on some things unaware um, in that other person, and it makes them feel some type of way. Um, with Virgo is more of, they like to help and serve and help and improve situations and people, you know. But with Virgo, they may feel rejection for not being perfect because they strive to for perfection, and so when they feel like they aren't perfect, then they feel like they'll be rejected for it because they have that expectation for others. Or maybe when somebody points something out that you haven't accomplished, and then you may feel like they're trying to say that you're not good enough or you're not perfect. Okay, but what you have to understand that everybody is a work in progress, and they're not going to be perfect, not even you. Okay. So with Libra, you would be sensitive to what others are feeling and what they need. And also here, you may attract people who have a lot of unhealed issues as well, or other wounds. And where you are in your work and with yourself and with your healed self would be dependent upon how you react to them, because you're trying to heal them, but what it in essence does is create a problem because you're not um handling yourself. You're not healing yourself because you're so busy trying to do it for other people that you don't work on that in yourself. So it's similar to Cancer. Okay. So you might build up a wall, you know, to others with your issues. So now with Scorpio, you are sensitive to what people have or carry, that, like the stuff people want to hide from others, like that dark side. People don't want nobody to know what they're doing in the dark, you know, or some things that they have going on. They don't want to be vulnerable, and you see that with that Scorpio, and because you see that and you see your own as well, so you feel as if everybody is hiding something. Okay. So you close yourself off because you feel like you can't trust other people because everybody is hiding something dark or some secrets, and you feel as if you don't feel safe with that person, or you can't trust that person. But what you have to understand is we all have things. It's not that you can't trust people, but we all have things that are in the shadows. And it doesn't mean that you can't trust that person or this person is going to hurt you because you can see the darkness or the things that people may be ashamed of. Okay. So with Sagittarius, you may be afraid to thinking too big or make having these big grand dreams or ideas for yourself, okay? And you may feel like people may be reject you because they don't get it, like they don't see the big picture that you see. They don't appreciate your big imagination, okay? And so they may say, you thinking too far out there, but understand that big imagination is the doorway to creativity. And that's what you can bring, that creativity into a situation. So with Capricorn, you're you're sensitive about your respect. So how people respect you or you feel like you're not worthy or due respect because it's like you working hard for yourself to be successful, but then you may start to doubt yourself and your ability to follow up on some certain things or project or whatever you're working on. Okay, and if you allow that doubt to stick in, it's going to hinder you from your success. And this could come from being told or shown that you were not good enough at some point, maybe in your childhood. Okay. So at some point, you may have been told that whatever you presented to somebody, your work or say your homework or a project or whatever you were doing, when you brought that to somebody, they rejected it and said that wasn't good enough. You can do better than that, or I've seen better than that, or whatever it was. Okay. So you have that rule. Now with Aquarius, you are unsure about how to heal yourself because you get stuck in your head. You want everything to be, you try to put everything as okay in a logical sense, but everything isn't always logical when it comes to your emotions. And what you need to do is just feel what you feel and then go into why you feel it, not avoid it. So because well, if you can't reason it out and then you just avoid it and then but the problem still persists, what you have to do is dig into it and let things flow and let yourself heal naturally. It's okay to be vulnerable, okay? And it's okay to have insecurities about yourself, okay? Because you try to disconnect yourself from anything that has hurt you in the past. So you just ignore it instead of dealing with it, okay? So that is Aquarius. So with the Pisces, you are sensitive to unprocessed emotional things that people are carrying, and you may absorb them and take them as your own. But here, you have to become aware of what is your issue and what is not your issue. So you won't have to carry everybody's burdens and everybody's emotional trauma or whatever they're dealing with. You have to decide, you have to figure out what's yours and what's not yours. But also not to close your heart off as well in the process, because in the process of you taking on all and seeing all these things and feeling all these things, you may close your heart off because you don't want to feel it, feel the hurt, feel the pain or whatever it is. But in that process of closing things off, you close yourself off as well. Okay, so you have to figure out what's yours and what's not yours until you can know what to carry and what not to carry. So that's just a quick run through of like basically what Chiron in the houses could mean. Okay, so now I'm going to go into Chiron in each individual house and how it may show up, okay, um, in each house. So I no, it was on another channel I did that, but each house represents a different area of your life. And let me see if I can put it up here. So this is the 12 houses in astrology. And each house, starting from 1 through 12, there's 12 houses and the 12 signs, and then you have the 10 or so planets that they give us. So I'm gonna let you look at that for a second. I'm gonna leave that up there, and you can pause it and read what each house represents. Okay, like one would be yourself, and one would be your money, and your family, and then your children, and then your relationships, and then your learning and your work, and it just goes on. So each one represents something. So I'm going to go through Chiron in each house. Okay. Now, this can kind of be narrowed down because you have to then include the sign in that house as well to see how it plays out. So Aries in the first house will be a little bit different than Scorpio in the first house in Chiron. Okay. So you have to just connect the two like that. So as you can see there, that is the houses. So if you have Chiron in your first house, you may feel that there's something wrong with your body or your personality because the first house is about you. Okay. So you may be sensitive about how others see you. Because if you feel like something is wrong with you, and you may be sensitive to others seeing that. So even if nobody says it, you may just feel that somebody has a problem with it because you do. Okay. So what you may do is try to hide that part of you. Okay. So, or you may feel like you shouldn't even be here. Like, I don't even know why I'm here because this and that is wrong with me, or I don't like this about me. Okay. But you have to learn how to love yourself. That's the wound that you have to heal, that self-love. Okay. And then if you have Chiron in the second house, and you can see what the second house is there, you may be sensitive to how others react to the things that you value and what matters to you and how you use your money, because this is about money and resources. Okay. And um, if you don't feel self-sufficient, then you feel like you will be rejected or abandoned because you have that fear because of how people see you and how you handle your what you treasure, what you value. Okay. Because let's say when you were a child, what you found important or what you value, say you had a certain blanket or a toy or whatever that you really love, and people disregarded that and probably damaged it in some type of way or tossed it or misused it or whatever it was. Okay. So now you feel like what you find value in is not important to others. Okay. So that's kind of how that works within number two, house number two. All right. So for number three, house number three, you may be overly sensitive on how people hear you. even your words. Okay, so when you're trying to express yourself and what you're thinking and what you're feeling, okay, so you may take how people respond to you as a rejection to what you're saying, and you may feel like they're judging you. Like if somebody look a certain way or move their body, like, oh, I guess they don't want to hear what I'm saying. They may not care about what I'm saying. Okay, but what you have to realize that you have your own way of communicating. Everybody doesn't communicate the same. So it's okay, like I do, tell long stories to tell one point. It's okay to um express yourself in your own unique way. Okay. Um Now for number 4, the fourth house, you um so when the fourth house, this speaks more about your more of your family. So your emotions may not have been valued or dealt with when you were a child. Like nobody don't know how to deal with you or how to handle you, or how to make you feel valued as a child. Okay. So you need to honor your own feelings. You have to admit and acknowledge and honor your own feelings and needs, and not wait for somebody else to validate them for you. And understand that you have a right to feel what you want or what you need. Because if you don't, then you start standing off to yourself. I don't want to be around them, and I don't want to deal with this. So you kind of cut yourself off because you feel like nobody values you or values your emotions. Okay. But only thing that matters is you need to pay attention to what you feel and validate them yourself. Okay. So in the fifth house, and the fifth house is kind of like Leo, and it's more so of your creativity. So your creative side. So you may be sensitive to how other people receive your creativity, your playfulness, your opinions. And you feel like, I don't know if I should share what I'm feeling right here because people may not accept that. Okay. Because this could come from when you were a child, you wasn't given that freedom of expression. You wasn't able to just be a child. You wasn't able to go out and play and be carefree. And so now you are resistant to opening up and sharing and being creative and playful. Okay. And when you're trying to do that, you're not open to being vulnerable in play, meaning that you're not open to showing your playful side or being creative. Okay, but you can't take people's perception, or you think their perception of you, too hard, because that is what makes you you. That way you are creative, and those things that you bring, um, that somebody else may not even think of because their mind is not thinking like your mind. So that's how you are creative and your self-expression. That is what makes you unique. And by you accepting that and being able to just be in that freely, you allow others, and this is the healing part, you allow others to be able to freely express themselves, or kind of put, well, you know what, I was thinking that about myself, but now this person is showing me that it's okay to be this way or that way. Okay. Now, for the sixth house, you may be sensitive of how others see your work and judge how the things that you do, or how you do things, or how you do your work. Okay. Or how you fit into groups like teams, because it's all about your work, and your work ethic, and your working style. So then you may feel like, oh, I don't want to be a part of that group because I'm not good enough to be in them. I probably won't be able to do my part, or they're going to criticize me, or what I'm doing. It's all about that. But it's like, um, you take that criticism too serious, because we all need to have some type of critique, but you may take it deeper or harder than the next person, because you're taking it as a judgment of who you are and not of your work. Okay. But it's okay to do things your own way, because, like I said, it's all about understanding that it's okay to be you and how you are. Being different is okay. Doing things that's not exactly like everybody else is okay. And this applies to each house and each sign. It's okay to be that way. Just understand where these wounds are coming from, understanding where they are coming from. So now we have the seventh house. So here, the one on one relationships are affected, because this is the house of relationships of two. Okay. Um, so you may be sensitive to how others see you and receive what you have to offer. You may not feel worthy to be loved, or you may feel like it's okay for people to reject you when you reach out to them. So if you know, say you try to show up for somebody and show somebody love, and they reject you, or they don't feel like you're worthy, then you're like, yeah, it's okay, because I know that I'm actually not worthy of love, and it's okay to reject me because of who I am. And it's because they may not be able to give you that. So their response to you has nothing to do with you. That's them. So it's okay to be rejected, because we all going to have face some type of rejection in our life by somebody we may want to be with. That is fine. But that shouldn't affect how you are willing to show up and accept love, and don't let that validate yourself with that. Don't let their rejection invalidate you. It's Everybody is not going to be loved all the time by everybody that they want to be loved by. And you don't have to use somebody's rejection as something about you all the time, because sometimes it just is what it is. Okay. Now for the eighth house. Okay. So this is about the intimacy. Okay. So you may be sensitive to betrayals, minor hurts. When you trust other people, somebody slights you in some type of way, you just take it too hard. Okay. So if somebody lied to you, it's like, well, I guess I don't deserve to be told the truth. I don't deserve honesty. If somebody um don't do something, they don't, whatever they don't do, or whatever you feel like it's a slight or it's a jab to you, you take it as you don't deserve whatever that thing is. Okay. And so now you don't deserve to be loved. Well, they lied to me. They did this to me. They didn't return my call. They didn't want to do this. So I guess I don't deserve to be loved. And that's how you take it. Okay. Even if it's not intentional, you may take it personal and shut down, even to your family members, not even just a intimate relationship, but your family as well. And this can be you confiding in others, and sexual, like I said, sexual vulnerability, sexual intimacy. I mean, confiding in others and vulnerable, and being vulnerable in relationships, and being able to trust people. So, and here in the eighth house, you understand how those things can affect how people relate to each other. So you take it as a defining thing instead of an experience that you may have with this person. And like I said, even if this person may not even know that they're doing this to you, you just taking it very hard. Okay. Now, so with that in the eighth house, you just need to learn to be more trusting and understand that um, it's not it's not always personal. Okay, it's not something that's a jab to you um, all the time. Okay, and it's okay to have that vulnerability and trust people and be open. So for house number 9, the ninth house, here you may your your ideas, your philosophies, okay, may not always be in alignment with others. You may think outside of the box. Okay, you may be challenging the status quo. Okay, and that's okay. And you may feel like others rejecting you for that because they're not agreeing with you. Well, I don't fit in, because I think I'm so different than everybody. Nobody's accepting me. Nobody wants to listen to what I'm saying and take in what I'm saying. But what you have to understand, everybody is not going to view things in that way that you do. You are a person who may think further down the road than people can understand at this moment. And so what you are here to do is bring that new perspective in. So when you don't take it as a slight and understand that is just your uniqueness, that you have that capability, that ability to see further down the road than others, or see things outside of the box, or um, go outside the norm a little bit, that opens up new opportunities and new perspectives for people to see. So if you hold that in because you feel like, oh, they don't want to hear it, or I don't fit in with what they're thinking, or is that they may think that's crazy, that may think that's strange. If you don't share that uniqueness that you have, and then we won't have these new ideas that we have popping up around here because people have thought outside of the box to create new things. Okay. So that's the ninth house. So with the 10th house, um, it's kind of similar to the ninth, but with the 10th, this is more focused on work once again. So here you may have a different opinion of how to do things, and or how you do your work, or how you go about your job, or whatever it is. And you feel like you may be rejected for that, because why are you doing it like that, or why are you working it like this. And so it affects your self-esteem about your what you bringing to your work or to your job. Okay, so it's okay, but it's not saying that you're not doing it right. It's just people questioning how you do it. Okay, but you so caught up in what people want to think. Everybody's doing theirs like this, but I'm doing mine like this. You're still doing it right, but I gotta follow them or they're gonna reject me. But it's okay. You're doing your job right and you're doing it well. And it's just to get um, people to see that there's other ways of doing things. Okay. So it's okay if you're different and you go about things differently as far as your work and your career, whatever it may be, because that is how we have new ways of doing jobs and working together, group assignments or whatever it is. Because you may feel like people not giving you a chance to prove what you can do because you're doing things that's kind of slightly different than what they're used to. All right, so with the 11th house, you may be um, sensitive to how groups receive you. Now, this is more of your community, your world, not work necessarily, but your community. All right. Um, so, what you have for your life, how do you see yourself fitting in the world? And it's similar to number 10, like in number 9, it's like your ideas of something may be outside of that particular group. And people may not, well, we don't want to be living in this type of environment. We're used to living in this type of environment. Or we don't want to, that's too, well, like when I was growing up, that's too Jetson. Like, nobody's going to be in flying cars. Nobody's not going to be on this phone doing this. So But you seeing that coming, or you seeing that as being possible, but it may seem too outlandish and too like that's fiction. Nobody is ever going to be doing that. But that's you thinking ahead of the game. You are in a ahead of the times more so than the group of people that you are surrounded by. And so because you are in surrounded by people who don't have that same perspective of you as you, and then you may um feel like they're going to reject you because you are thinking way out of their capabilities of thinking. All right. So now for the 12th house, which is more of the hidden things. And so this is about your how you take on the emotions and energies of the collective, so the group of people, okay? So you may be unintentionally taking in unconsciously the unconscious of the collective. And so you may find it hard. So if you are somebody who's more sensitive to injustices or things that's going on, or you part of this type of group, so you may take on all of that suffering and things that's going on in the world, and you taking it into yourself, you absorbing all of that, okay? But what you have to do here is you have to understand you can be you can do missionary work, but you can't take that all of that pressure onto yourself. You can go out here and be working for these causes, but you can't take on all of that yourself. You can't absorb it into yourself and take on all of human suffering, all of the children suffering, all of the animal suffering. You can't take on all of that energy into yourself. You can work with it, but don't take it all onto yourself because it's not helpful to you. And it's going to bring chaos into your heart, into your mind too. Now you may become the type of person who has that, how people say, well, I don't care about that. People going to do this anyway, and people out here doing this. Who cares? So then you become cold-hearted and numb because you have taken on so much. So that is the last house. So those are all of the ways that Chiron can be presented in the signs and in the houses. So to give you an example before I go of how you can pull those two together. So for instance, if you have Chiron in your fourth house in Aries, okay, so if you have Chiron in Aries in your fourth house, you could have this wound because you came from an unstable home that lacks family support. So you may not be as assertive or as or quick to so that means you may not express yourself so much because you have been in a place where you haven't received that support, you haven't received that love, you have been neglected, you haven't had space to grow in certain areas because of that instability and because you lack that support. So you would have to learn how to work through that within yourself, so that now once you heal that wound, which is that lack of support that affected your ability to be trusting within your family. Okay, so once you learn how to heal that gives you the ability and the inspiration to assist others in doing the same who have that same issue or other issues. Because like I said, Chiron is the wounded healer. So your wounds assist you in helping other people heal. So this was just a quick overview of Chiron and how it shows up in the different signs and in different houses. And like I said, you have the houses right here. You can just come back and look at, you can copy it down, look it up yourself. Okay. So, and then you can see where your Chiron is, and then you can Google it if you want to. Chiron in this house with this sign. Okay. And it'll kind of tell you a little what's going on. It won't be specific to you because your own experiences, but it will be basically the same type of thing. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I hope you got some information out of here that you can use. And once again, I will leave the link in the description box, and I'll probably put it in the comment section as well for you to go in and look up your birth chart information. And in order to look that up, you're going to need your date of birth, your time of birth, if you have it, and your place of birth, so they can give you the exact one that you need. Okay, so thank you for joining me, and you can leave all your comments in the comment section, and don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you.